Alright guys, sorry for the delay. It's about 1:20 here in Singapore, GMT +8, and we are on to the FSL type qualifiers. Once again, I'm Hungry Cass. Alongside me is Spoot. We will be bringing you the matches for today, and remember that it is a two-parter. Today is day one.
Yep.
And by tomorrow, we'll be able to decide, or at least find out, who is going to be the representatives for the FSL Thailand qualifiers. For today, though, the first match will be sort of getting underway right now as we are approaching picks and bans. Winter on the blue side, close behind Esports on the red side. Some history on these teams. Close behind Esports, actually the first FSL winner, FSL League of Legends winner, Elite in February last year, if I remember correctly, or March. So now they're going to be returning to the tournament and hoping to make a run at the championship title once more. Meanwhile, on the blue side, Winter is actually a pretty relatively new team. Really haven't seen much of them this time. But as picks and bans are underway, we will see Aphelios actually being leaked through and picked up instantly on the blue side by Winter.
Yeah, we actually do see a lot of power picks leaking through the first part of this draft right now. I mean, Olaf and Aurelia going to close behind. Also two very strong picks that, you know, they're going to leverage against Winter here.
The interesting thing is, even though there's a Braum as well as a possible Trundle on the blue side, a lot of tools to dive the backline. Aphelios is relatively mobile, so the danger is there if you are picking this up on the Winter side. I feel like at this point you kind of have to draft a bit more protection, so Jarvan is a good answer actually. You pop the Cataclysm, Olaf immediately can't run to the backline, Aurelia is still sort of stifled in terms of mobility, so this is a stopgap measure that they have on the blue side.
Yeah, absolutely. Aphelios, Braum, obviously they're going to try to be a bit more careful at the bot side, but obviously if now that we have the Leona locked in on the last round here, it's going to be a little more difficult for them to, you know, stave off these engages.
Interestingly, we do see that Mordekaiser is left available. One of the more oppressive champions in this current patch. Of course, this is 10.1, so there are still some options available that I think, you know, people have tend to catch onto in solo queue, but has been left very much open this game. Stuff like Diana as well in the mid lane is left open. They did not neglect, or rather they did neglect to ban that. So both teams here leaving a lot of power picks open. Maybe it's sort of like a trade back and forth. I was about to say Misfortune as well was left open. So it's what you can get now is pretty much the cream of the crop. Depends on what you want to trade across.
Yeah, Misfortune is something we were discussing earlier. Very strong in the current patch. Cassiopeia as well. And these two picks now being banned out leaves a lot more room for both these teams to, you know, tech and do what they want to do.
Last pick, or rather last ban here on the blue side for Winter is going to be that Kled. So we will see a Varus hover here on the close behind side. But I feel like we saw the Lucian being hovered as well. I think Lucian fits in pretty well. Overall, though, the composition as it stands now is severely lacking on magic damage. I feel like you might want to save your last pick for a AP mid laner, possibly Assassin. We do see the LeBlanc ban out. Akali is an option as well. Will be the Tristana Leona bot lane here.
Yep, Tristana Leona obviously a very strong bot lane. They're just gonna keep diving you if you're not careful, and we do see a Mordekaiser hover right now, which is, you know, very strong like you said earlier. Could be a little oppressive into Aurelia. It really depends on who gets the early advantage.
Yeah, I think the strength of the Mordekaiser as well. Now you can, you know, sort of flex it into multiple lanes, so you don't have to give anything away too early on. Rumble is another example of a flex pick that we saw being played a lot in the mid lane during the Casper Cup. So this lends into the overall strategy of this composition, because you have Jarvan now, which has a lot of area control. You power on top of that the Equalizer from Rumble. Your team fighting becomes that much stronger as well with Aphelios in your back pocket.
Yeah, right now we're gonna see who they're gonna go for in the top side, assuming Rumble goes into mid, and we do see, you know, a bit more of tanky top laner in the form of the Scion right now, just piling on the defensive abilities so that they can peel for their carries in the Aphelios.
In the idea, you know, we're talking about the composition synergies, it's to peel for Aphelios in the sense of like having the knockup available, but also the fact that you have area control. So both teams now sort of trading power picks back and forth. It's going to be the Mordekaiser here for close behind Esports, and rather oppressive pick if you've been playing solo queue, faced against the Mordekaiser, especially if you are a melee champion. My goodness, when you proc the passive, it's just free real estate. Like, you don't lose any trades off that.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the compositions coming in from close behind Esports as well, because if you look at all the champions they have across the board, they just want to dive you. I mean, Mordekaiser, Olaf, they not all of these champions have one way or another to get to your backline, and if you are Winter right now, you have to focus on, you know, piling on the defensive stats, like I said earlier.
The frustrating part is because you have all this peel on your side of Winter, and you're like, okay, we're prepared to keep Aphelios safe. Mordekaiser's goal right now is just to flash in the backline, pop out, and like, okay, let's go, 1v1, what do you got, man? And in that sense, it's up to the player, the Aphelios player rather, to juggle the weapons properly, because depending on the setup you have, you might be able to deal with the Mordekaiser 1v1 in a duel, or you might just straight up die. Because if you have something like the sniper cannon with the flamethrower, there's no way you're going to take 1v1, right? Versus the chakrams and scythes, more or less better suited for dueling. So once again, we have to keep our eye on top of what Aphelios is packing when it comes to these duels and team fights, and very dependent on how the player manages the ammo as well as the loadout.
Here's the other side of the coin, though. I mean, yeah, Aphelios' weapons, great and all,
Mm.
but the thing about Aphelios is if he dies, he won't be able to use them at all.
That's true.
So I want to focus on the rest of the team for like how they can
Right.
pile in front of
Okay.
him, just defend him, because let's be honest, if Olaf pops out and Jarvan does not have
Mhm.
Cataclysm, you're just screwed.
There's like very little you can do apart from calling your whole team and like, okay guys, we gotta focus the Olaf instantly and kill him or kill her, because if the Olaf manages to get to a point where you can dive the Aphelios, well, you know, you lose the fight off the bat, right? And this composition in itself is relatively low damage if you're looking at Winter's side. Rumble, sure, once you get to the point of the Haunting Guys, the Leandry's Torment, maybe you do a bit more damage, but it is significantly a 2-threat composition.
Yeah.
On the opposite side, there is a 4-threat composition coming in from close behind Esports. Everyone is capable of taking these fights and, you know, outputting significant damage in team fights. You look at Olaf, classic, you know, you get ahead of the curve, dive the backline. Aurelia, even though there's been nerfs coming through, still very adept at diving the backline. Of course, we all see the Tristana resets that we know to come and love. I feel like when it comes to overall composition threats, close behind packs a lot more that you have to be careful of. All 3 lanes have the ability to take off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main thing that we have to take note of in this early game is who gets a hit.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're close behind Esports right now, you get a hit, you have a lot more damage profile. You can, just jump in the backline like we were talking about earlier. But if you're Winter and you get a hit, you can just stack on those defense. You can get a lot more health and defensive stats, and makes it so much more difficult for close behind Esports to jump in.
And once again, guys, to remind you, FSL itself is a female esports tournament. We have been running last year. I think we did 2 FSL Elite League of Legends events. So one is at the start, ostensibly spring, right?
Yeah.
And then one was in towards the later half, ostensibly summer.
Sure.
So we're doing the same thing this year, of course. We're adding in a lot of titles
Yep.
to both runs this time. I think gone up to 4 titles this time,
Yep.
and League of Legends has always been a mainstay of FSL, I think. And now coming in, this is our 3rd run of FSL. We're getting to the point where a lot of the teams are repeated competitors. Close behind, like we mentioned, this is not their first run. They've played 3. This is their 3rd FSL qualifier, right? So the teams themselves are starting to level up. And I think the stakes are starting to get higher as well, because being a previous winner in the first FSL Elite, there's a lot more on the line after losing the second one. It's like, your anime redemption arc, as it were, where you win the first, you lose the second, and now you go into hiding in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Okay.
You start to train and you come out, hopefully you win again. We'll see if Close Behind can do that, though, because I have high hopes for this composition right now. I have high hopes for the team, as well as the other people that are competing. It's really elevated the level of competition in this tournament.
Yeah, well, we're on the topic of competition. On the other side of the bracket, we do have the second champion, Lannister.
Yes, Lannister.
Just waiting for them. So I would think that close behind Esports and Lannisters are going to be
Oh yeah,
2
that's
in the
like
finals.
a classic rivalry. I mean, we saw that in I think FSL Vietnam qualifiers the week before. Consistently, I think it was Eva's Valkyrie and like the new box ladies. They had this rivalry as well, where it's pretty much the past 2 representatives, the champions, right, sort of facing off in the winner bracket, and one of them has to go, unfortunately, because it is a double elim format, right? Either you make it to the finals and you represent your region, or you just get knocked out, and commiserations for you. But that's how the game goes,
Yep.
So like you mentioned, on the other side, Lannisters waiting for them. We have to see in this game 1 of today whether close behind Esports can come out with guns blazing. The one impression that this team has left on me, at least when I was watching, or at least casting them in FSL Elite last year, was their ability to adapt. This team is so quick at adapting to their opponents when it comes to a long form tournament.
Okay.
So as the day goes on, today and tomorrow, I wonder if they will exhibit that same ability. And I was talking to Riku about this as well. She says when she watches Close Behind, they're such an enthralling team, so captivating, because you think they're always behind, and then they learn something new and they bring it out, and just like, wow, this blows my mind.
Yeah, the thing about double elimination is that if you get eliminated twice, if you lose twice, there's no more chance for you to adapt. So you have to adapt quickly, and I think the point you were bringing across, close behind Esports being quick to adapt,
Yeah.
that's gonna be obviously very good for them.
Yeah.
But obviously you still want to win the first few games.
And not to mention, this is a new patch, right?
Yeah.
Adaptation is super key when it comes to a new season. With literally, it's been like 1 week.
Yeah.
We've been on 10.1 for like a week, right? And things have changed. Things have changed a lot. You know, not just the power changes to champions, but also the state of the Rift in itself. Now we've had that point where elemental dragons are a big thing. Rift Herald, you know, respawns twice. You get Elder Dragon, you like win every team fight. This kind of things, right? Whether the players themselves have had the time to adjust as a team is gonna speak volumes to their success in this tournament.
Yeah, the factor of creativity, especially this early on in the season, is very important. Like, you think you have the meta all figured out by the first week, and then suddenly this random new champion jumps in, just completely wrecks your team.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it just super feels bad.
I
But
feel like you're talking about Philios at this point.
I maybe. I mean,
Right.
I still don't understand what he does.
We've seen all like the classic Reddit highlight clips like, oh, Aphelios pops out with the flamethrower and
Yep.
just like gets a free pentakill. Everyone's like, oh, balanced
Oh,
champion,
okay.
high
Okay,
skill
let's-
ceiling.
woo.
Press R, you know, get kills. We'll have to see if this game is evident the skill is there, that high skill ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, neither of the teams banned him, so
Hmm.
you would expect that they both know how to deal with the champion.
Yeah, I feel like if you leave it open, you either have a pick prepared or you have some sort of way to deal with it. And I feel like the answer was the Leona, right?
Yeah.
When they saw that, or rather on the red side, they left Aphelios open. It's like, okay, we're going to bait them into insta-lock the
Into baiting.
Aphelios. And then Jabaited, boom, insta-lock, Leona, Tristana, we're just going to push you in 24/7. Don't know how that's going to go. We'll have to see how this pans out once again, guys. First game of the day, FSL Thailand qualifiers. We are on the Rift.
Yeah, we are on the Rift indeed, and at the moment, you would expect that neither of these teams really want to do anything too spicy, you know, especially this early on.
My man, you say that. The pigs are coming down. The
Oh,
invasion. The early invades are coming through. I think spicy is the possible flavor of the day as we are seeing a more defensive spread. So,
Mhm.
okay.
Right, well, both junglers are actually going to see each other, so they both should know where they want to start. Not much else going on the map, just a little bit of warding and skirmishes from the two supports. Wet noodle fight. Yeah, one ward gets put down, so that's vision advantage to Winter.
Interestingly enough, I'm not sure if you're super familiar with the jungle changes, but they've sort of equalized the EXP you get from camps, right? I've been playtesting it quite a little bit, what the most efficient clear is, and one thing I realized is if you clear the blue side of your jungle like completely, you get level 3 instantly, right?
Yeah.
It's actually much faster to clear that as opposed to the full crux clear on the red side.
Okay.
So I feel like most people now do start blue side to get that quick level 3 and then decide to make a play with the level 3, right? As opposed to doing half of your blue side and then going to the top side to get level 3 off the red buff. So we have to see if the teams do understand this like experience change coming through in 10.1.
Yeah, the experience changes. I used to play jungle a lot,
Right.
so this is pretty tilting for me. I do believe that, you know, the jungle spawn times have been changed as well, so you have to pay a lot more attention to where, you know, to where the camps are spawning, because they
Right.
spawn much quicker now, I believe. So that's something else you have to keep in mind. If you don't farm those camps, you're going to be a significant XP disadvantage.
Yeah, the idea of the camp spawning quicker, if you're like way too far behind, your opponent's just going to consistently invade you, right? And then it becomes a lot more difficult to control. And we see the memes about this, oh, you're falling behind in jungle EXP all the time, even though you are even. You know, when it comes to levels, you might be level 4, your mid laner is like level 6.
Yeah. This bot lane looks like they're going to be pretty spicy. I
Yeah.
mean, they both are walking up pretty aggressively, and
No
I'm just
fear.
waiting for who gets level 2, because I think if Leona gets level 2 first, he's just gonna hit the trigger and go in.
Okay, both hitting level 2 at the same time. I feel like Leona here is looking for a bit more action. The bot lane is pushing in. Tristana, though, doesn't necessarily have the best level 2.
Yeah.
Whereas Aphelios, as a champion, though, levels don't matter. Remember that with the champion itself, when you level up, all you get are additional stats. You don't get skills, right? So your level 1, level 2 is pretty much the same.
Keep in mind that both junglers are actually on the same side of the map right now. Jarvan right now actually looking like he's gonna go for that, you know, full blue side clear like you were talking about. This top lane, I wouldn't recommend ganking it too much, because, you know, it's just two tanks just gonna go at it all game.
And looking at the keystones as well, one side for the Scion, it's going to be like Grasp of the Undying, right? So the idea is sustaining and trading, whereas the Mordekaiser is content trading if you want to. Oh, hold on here. Gang being set up. Olaf moving in. The axe landing though. Flag and drag out. Flash forward. The counter flash coming through. He has to get to the explosive cone though to get out of this fight. And yeah, that's going to be a safe escape coming in for the Jarvan, the 4th player. Thankfully managing to get to the blast cone in time.
Yeah, that's just a bit unfortunate for both junglers having to expend flashes this early on, but Olaf does gain himself a bit of advantage, chasing the Jarvan away from that scuttle, and should be securing it for himself right now, but, you know, Jarvan's just going to equalize that by going towards the bot side.
This is pretty much expected when junglers have to trade halves of the map because, well, you contest the top side, you give it away, now you have to immediately run to the bot half. The question is whether the Leona Tristana is going to respect this because you expect, oh, well, you lose the top side, Jarvan's coming in bot lane, and this is when they can start to force the gank. Remember that Graviton Cannon is up for the Ophelia, so there is that on-demand route if you can land the auto into the queue.
Yep, I don't believe Olaf actually got any other camps from that, just walking in, not even putting on a ward, so at the moment, not too much of a significant advantage going on to the side of the close behind jungler.
What this does though is buys a lot of space for the top side because you have the Rift Scuttle, you can see a river gang coming in if Jarvan decides to path up. So right now Comfy Roof can just get the full reset by pushing the wave in. Doesn't really have to respect the threat of the gang coming in, but oof, missing the cannon minion physically hurts. Ouch.
Right in the mid lane. I don't think there's too much action that should be expected from these two, especially this early on. I mean, they both have to hit their damage profiles, damage breakpoints before they can actually look for any active trades.
The good thing though is that because it is a melee into melee matchup, we wouldn't see, wouldn't expect heavy minor. We won't expect trades as opposed to heavy all-ins.
At the moment, first dragon is spawned on the map, and one thing that you should have, you would have learned from this preseason change is that dragon's very impactful right now. I mean, I don't think the first two matter that much, but the faster you can get to the fifth, I believe, is that's the most important thing. So you want to get advantage down there.
The fourth gives you the soul, which is dependent on which dragon is usually pretty good, and the fifth is the elder, which is like the be all end all to team fighting because of the execution portion of that. Wave is frozen in the bot side. It's pretty decent positioning coming in for the Aphelios and Braum. Meanwhile, because they have the bot lane prio, this Ocean Dragon is going to be started up, but will be spotted. Not really spotted actually, because they are going to be cut off here. Great movement coming in from the bot lane of close behind to support the jungler and make sure that this dragon take should be, for all intents and purposes, no problem. Meanwhile, top side fight coming, flash coming out from Comfy Roof. Has to throw the Obliterate back across to trade the damage, but this should be the Ocean Dragon, and surprisingly, no contest coming through. Early Ocean Dragon in 6 minutes being picked up by Samlet Red.
Yeah, this is a sort of extended advantage from Olaf chasing the Jarvan away earlier on in the game, so that he had to rotate bot earlier. Now he has to go top side.
Yeah,
and it's very good for close behind right now. Comfy Roof absorbing the pressure, only having to expend one flash and not even backing right now. So looking pretty good in the early game right now for CBE.
Meanwhile, trades coming across onto the mid lane. There is no magic resistance to speak of yet on Salmon Pink. She has gone for the double longsword, so I'm expecting this to be a Tiamat build. Unless for some weird reason she goes for the Lethality. Meanwhile, bot lane fight coming through. A lot of damage onto the Aphelios. Flashing forward, auto attack. The Ignite is taking down. One more will do it in the first blood. Going the way of the Leona now. They're looking for the second one, but the minions are actually doing a significant amount of damage on the Tristana, so they will have to back off. But the all-in right now going in the favor of the Tristana Leona with the bombs coming through, as well as the chain CC.
Yeah, not gonna lie, this entire lane is going in favor of Leona Tristana. I mean, look at that CS differential. Even it's 20 CS at 7 minutes in the game. Keep in mind, this Aphelios is your main carry, and he's falling so far behind in the early game. It cannot be a good feeling for Winter.
And this goes back to our idea of, well, we're gonna leave the Aphelios open and see if our counter pick pans out. And right then, the Leona Tristana lane was what they planned, and how they're executing it works right now. You mentioned the CS differential as well. It's a good sign for close by in the bot lane.
Yep, and now at this point, you just have to keep, ask yourself, what can you really do to stop this? I mean, the bot lane is already going up towards top side for a
I love this.
Super early, lane swap. Haven't seen this in a while, but I mean, you do what you want, I guess.
Bear in mind that the Rift Herald is coming up soon, so by having the strength to control the top wave, having the priority on the lane, it will guarantee that Olaf will be able to base here, walk over and take the Rift Herald with the control of the Leona and Tristana.
Yeah, take a look. You can tell that they have practiced this a lot. I mean, it was such a quick maneuver that I don't think Winter expected this at all. And right now, this Scion is just left to have to deal with this, and it's just not going to work out.
The question is whether Comfy Roof can hold the 2v1, because for all the flag that Mordekaiser gets as a champion that's overtuned, you still have some difficulty clearing the wave against the pressure coming in. Oh, hold on, a lot of damage having to pop the Death Realm already. Velasquez on using the Scythe though to do the damage across. Might be able to take this fight with the last auto attack and now turn it into a possible 1v2. Just as I was saying that, the Obliterate might just be able to finish off the kill. The last Q, great stand stand beside me though to get out of that fight.
Yeah, just when you were asking the question whether or not he can do, he just jumps in.
Balance
and gives
champion,
it a
good job,
whack.
Ryan.
Thank you, Riot.
Yeah.
I mean, it just speaks to how much of a game plan they have. I'm gonna hold that. As you know, the Olaf jumps in on the Jarvan, should get out. Equalizer does come down though. Unstoppable, but he's just gonna fall.
I was thinking of how do you take that fight against the Rumble, but the answer is you don't. So
Yeah.
Samler Red overextending in the mid lane, a bit too overconfident. Will die to the Equalizer coming through and give the kill over to the mid laner of Winter. As it stands now, the gold is 1.5, 1.6 in favor of close behind Esports, with the control lying actually with both the top laners and the bot laners.
Yeah, I was just praising them for having a good game plan, and Olaf does that. I mean, sure, you had that lane swap and you picked the Mordekaiser. You can't do what this Mordekaiser did if you picked some other champion. So I think it just speaks to the preparation they had.
Vanguard's Edge being used in the mid lane, flashing out is the Rumble Conqueror already up for Salmon Pink. Does use the Ignite though, looking to go in once more, but choosing to be a bit more hesitant and restrained. It's fine because you do blow the flash on the Rumble, so now you have the control in the mid lane once more.
Yep, and you were talking about the Rift Herald spawning, and Rift Herald on the map right now, they do have the advantage. They have no Winter has no vision in this side of the map, so you would think that Olaf would just get it.
Yep, fighting once more, no surprise, Olaf there on top of the Scion, and a great Buster shot to deny the ultimate from Scion. So this is top lane control, this is Rift Herald, and close behind, playing the map extremely beautifully, because if you get this before 15 minutes, you actually are able to get the second Rift Herald after as well. Flag and drag in for the Jarvan in the mid lane might not be the best idea as the Cataclysm comes down as well. Looking for the kill across, and it's going to be stolen by Samler Radar, the scumbag jungler with the axe to get the kill credit.
I mean, this early game is just falling apart for Winter right now. I mean, all your lanes are basically losing. You're losing neutral objectives as an extension to that, and I don't know if there's any way you can get back into this early game without just stalling and waiting for late.
In a perfect world, you find the team fight with the Rumble as well as the Braum, layer the CC down, but because they're so disjointed right now, look at the overall map control that they have. They can't really find these fights, so it's close behind in full control and taking the initiative, and meanwhile Winter just have to play catch up and as and when they can.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to try to. I mean, Dragon just spawned, and you know Jarvan is already positioning around there. They already have wards in that bottom river, and because they were taking Rift Herald, the Olaf is nowhere near the Dragon pit.
If you are Winter right now, you cross your fingers and pray that the change to the Rift is going to be the Mountain as opposed to the Inferno. Because with the new changes, I'm not sure if people are familiar with this watching, but the first 3 dragons are all different. They're randomized, right? But from the 3rd dragon onwards, everything is the same, and the Rift changes. So if you get the Inferno Dragon 3rd, you have 4th, 5th Inferno Dragon as well. And the power of that is just immense, because this composition, like we alluded to earlier, heavy in damage. The Inferno Dragon is just going to multiply that and make it so much more dangerous to deal with.
Absolutely, a Mountain, I believe, now gives you defensive stats. So if Winter is able to, you know, capitalize on that, that just makes their composition stronger.
Like, if you are close behind, you just give this over, it's fine. But it's looking to take the fight, the Equalizer on top of this. This might be a very good fight for Winter indeed. The Dragon will be taken away by Winter, and now the fight going on to the backline. No one touching the Tristana means that she can jump forward and look to get the resets, the auto attacks, looking for the assist for another reset, but instead it's going to be the kills being cleaned up by Close Behind Esports. Losing 4 members though, Winter will give the triple kill over to Salmon Pink as well. Only for a cost of the Dragon. I think there was a bit of a overextension there from the side of Winter.
Yeah, that was undisputably worth for the side of Close Behind. I mean, if you're Winter, I don't think you had to do that, but if you wanted to get back into this early game, I think that was the play.
Yeah.
It's just super unfortunate that, you know, you give away 4 kills to the enemy side, and it just makes them so much stronger.
It's tough when you lock yourself in the pit with the Irelia as well as the Leona, because there's so much collateral CC, as I would put it, you know, that goes in this small area that you are very much confined and controlled. There's very little you can do to deal with that when you're this far behind, and right now, far behind is the theme, because they're 5.5k behind. I'm not sure if they can even look to push forward, or rather at this point, it's full, 5.5 grand. Not sure if they can even look to pull even at this point.
Yeah. Oh. Skirmish?
Auto? No.
Okay, well, if you take a look at the map right now, it's super unfortunate you're having to commit your bot lane into the mid, because honestly at this point if they go bot and your mid lane tower is gone, that just allows close behind Esport to set up a dive, especially with Olaf. So it just points to how far behind they are right now in this bot lane especially. And keep in mind, again, this is your primary carry. He's on 99 CS
this
at 30
was
minutes in a game.
Aphelios first pick, build the comp around Aphelios,
Yes.
see whether we can get to the team fighting stage. The dude has 3 Doran's swords. Like, this is the worst case scenario. Like 3 D-Blaze just speaks to, I'm poor, I need as much cheap stats as possible.
Yeah, take a look right now. They are rotating pretty quickly to defend this bot side, so I don't think they pick up this turret here with this Rift Herald.
Yeah, there's actually 4 members of the Winter side that has come down to defend, and well, the turret plates did go down after the Rift Herald charge was expanded, so there was some gold that went over to close behind. I wouldn't say it was a full attempt on the siege, perhaps just trying to maximize the economy to get all the turret plates before they went off. Trades happening on the top side. Remember that this is percentage damage that Mordekaiser deals with her passive, or his passive in this case.
Yeah, if you take a look right now, they are setting up that dive. You know, these wards are going to spot them out, but do they get out in time?
I feel like at this point you just run. You don't stick around. You run
Yeah.
and you don't stay anywhere near the turret, because if you pick this fight, you will lose very badly.
Yeah, at this point, you just have to stem the bleeding, and, you know, allowing yourself to get dove is not how you do that. So they just give away the turret.
Yeah.
They're just going to back away, reset, and hopefully look for some advantages elsewhere on the map.
Push still being forced right now on the bot side. There's 4 members strong on the close behind lineup that is looking to siege down tier 2. And with the Tristana here as well as the Demolish from Leona, should be able to make short work of this structure here. As it goes down.
Yeah, that's 3 turrets going over the side of close behind already. You're not feeling the best of your Winter right now. Your Scion in the top lane is just getting assaulted by Comfy Roof. It's just amazingly feels bad. You're losing every part of the map right now.
The good news though that the good news for Winter right now is that the dragon was a mountain, so the chain of mountain dragons actually benefits Winter more than close behind, because they have a Scion, which naturally stacks resistances, and they have a Jarvan who did go for Cinderhawk. So there are at least 2 people, and 2.5 if you count Braum, that benefit heavily from the mountain dragon.
Yeah, keep in mind they still do have to get the mountain dragon.
I mean, of course.
And right now, take a look at where the turrets have gone. The bot side is the weak side for Winter right now. You're not getting any dragons.
It's an ideal thing if they can pick it up,
Yeah.
but like picking it up is easier said than done. So of course we have to give benefit of the doubt to whether this composition can even get to that point. As of now, Salmon Pink, though walking to the bot side, will be spotted out by a ward. Looking to dive onto the Aphelios. Moonlight Vigil being used, but not really doing anything here. Salmon Pink trading across the turret, though, actually doing a lot of damage. Salmon Pink overextending here, having to flash out, and the Glacial Fissure picks up the kill. And you have to respect the Chakrams coming in from Velasquez. This is what we were talking about. The lineup and setup you have on Aphelios, if you have the Chakrams as well as the Scythe, the lifesteal, the constant DPS, is enough for you to take these 1v1s.
Yep, 0-3-1 beating up a 3-0 and 2 Aurelia. That's balanced, yeah. But yeah, that's just way too overconfident coming from close behind Esports mid laner. I mean, yeah, sure, you it looks like you can do that, but when you're against Aphelios, which is, you know, I'm not gonna lie, sort of overtuned.
Yeah.
You still have to be a bit more cautious. And the fact that you missed the stun is just, you know, I don't think that was very optimal.
Yeah, but one thing I have to sort of point out is that, and a lot of people have given the feedback of this regarding Aphelios. It's really hard to tell what the current loadout of the champion is unless you pay a lot of attention. And had it been, you know, the Calibrium, the sniper that Aphelios was using, that 1v1, easy. Aurelia takes it. But because it was the Chakrams and you don't really have full information of what the loadout is, Salmon Pink just went all in thinking, okay, we can take this trade. Lost the 1v1 there, give the goal over to Aphelios, and now completing the QSS on this champion is so crucial, because now Mordekaiser can straight up press R and deny you from the fight. There is a bit more of a window for you to, you know, take these fights at a leisurely pace if you can QSS away the ultimate.
Yeah, paying the QSS tax early, and, you know, Mountain Dragon's just gonna go over. They're actually gonna fight this. TP's coming down.
Oh, great equalizer onto the backline is going to be taken away by the Jarvan. The Dragon goes the way of Winter, but on the backline, look at the Vanguard's edge actually ripping everyone apart. The resets might be coming in. It's a double already picked up, and the Death Realm on top of that. The QSS being used, but a little too late. It's a triple coming through from the Mordekaiser. I'm not sure that the Scion is going to survive this for a second longer. Make it a Quadra on top of that, and the fight, even though the equalizer was being placed on top of everyone, the Vanguard's edge as well as the teleport from Comfy Roof allowed them to turn that fight.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what they were trying to do there. They were obviously objectively at a disadvantage, especially when your AD carry just bought the QSS.
Yeah.
You have no, you can't go for those fights, and it just opens up a free second Rift Herald.
Remember
close behind.
that the QSS is literally the first completed item this person has. 3 Endurance Blades, magical footwear, the BSO, and then you buy the QSS, you're like, oh, let's go and fight this. That's a good idea,
What are you
guys.
trying to do there?
Sometimes I feel like we have to be objective, but I just can't help but laugh when I look at the current situation. I'm like, well, this is a nightmare.
Yeah, and the current situation right now is 8k deficit at 18 minutes for Winter. I don't think there is much of a way for you to get back into this game. Honestly, you just have to drag it out.
Yeah.
If they win this game, they win it at 45 or 50 minutes. Which I don't see happening because honestly,
I feel
Close
like,
Behind is so far ahead.
I wanted to hedge your bets with you. I'm like, yeah, they could probably take it at 45, but given the gold deficit as well as the nature of the compositions, right? Because this is a 4 damage threat lineup, it's so difficult for you to stall fights out. It gets to the point where how much is enough to take these fights? Pretty much gold has to be irrelevant, and your affiliates has to pick up to the point where it's starting to do significant damage before they can touch you. You're taking out members already, and I don't see it getting to that point. So, at the risk of calling it early, I'm calling it early.
Oh, okay then. I mean, Close Behind Esports, the only way for Winter to get back into this game is if Close Behind Esports, they misplay heavily multiple times.
Yeah.
And I honestly just don't see that happening. But, at least, Winter got their Mountain Dragon.
One thing I can say about Close Behind though is that overall when it comes to team fighting, they're extremely clean. That was more or less how they won FSL Elite Season 1. Through extremely clean team fighting as well as an understanding of where to be on the map. We are starting to see that happen, in real time as well. You can see now, second Rift Herald picked up, being used to siege down the top tier 1 because, the charge is coming through, of course. And once again, the understanding of where to be on the map. The macro, very well done by Close Behind. You can see the split coming in, 1-3-1 on the map. Of course, no one is going to be able to deal with Mordekaiser, so this team is giving me 2 thumbs up right now. I'm 100% approving the way they play.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking very professional right now, going in, honestly, into all 3 lanes. It's not very common where you see a team be this clean on the map.
Yeah.
And right now you can take a look at Winter. The way they're playing, they're panicking, honestly.
This is a classic situation where you're not fully comfortable with your team on a whole, and like you guys don't know your natural tendencies, so you have to act and adapt on the fly at a delayed pace as opposed to knowing what your roles are, right? And you can see it a little bit here as opposed to Close Behind, who looks super clean because they understand where they have to be on the map.
Yeah, the one weakness the only weakness really I can point out for Close Behind Esports is the tendency to be a bit overconfident.
Yeah, right now overconfident is the word, using the Death Realm to pull the Braum in and isolate this situation. It's going to be a 1-for-1 for now as he looks to get the kill across over. The Flag and Drag though will knock the Mordekaiser up. Meanwhile, on the backline coming in, multiple members of Close Behind now piling in a Buster Shot though, but they're all locked in the Equalizer with the Cataclysm, and now it's going to be the first one to fall. The Tristana going down. Chasing forward, 4 members of Winter now looking to get the kills across. The second kill will go the way of the Rumble once more, and that's the ideal situation right there. Using the Cataclysm as well as the Equalizer to lock them in and find a fight.
Yeah, the reinforcements are dead. The Mordekaiser does get out alive though, but we see another fight in top lane.
Another fight in top lane, stopping the ultimate from Snell though, jumping back in. Salmon Ping has to get one more Blade Surge to get in for the kill. Instead will be denied as the Jarvan leaps in with the Flag and Drag. Meanwhile, Rumble joining in as well. Will not be able to chase up to the top laner from Close Behind and allow her to get out, but overall, still saving the life of the Scion.
Yep, quite slippery is the Aurelia, able to make it out alive. Yeah, I think the Mordekaiser staying there a bit too overconfident, like we were talking about earlier, just overextending a little too much. Something that hopefully, if not Winter, that some other team can capitalize on later on in the tournament, but right now, if they should have to rein it in. I think they understand that they have to rein it in order for them to close the game out earlier on.
It brings you back to your earlier point about how this team, when they're ahead, they like to have a bit more fun, so they take these fights that they shouldn't be looking for, right? The clean play right now would be what they're doing. Set up the play in the bot side, isolate the vision, and then if Winter looks to check this objective, you turn the fight across. No questions asked, but so looking at them starting up the Mountain Dragon, the Leona overextended a little bit more inside this bottom half, will probably be picked off. In return though, the Mountain Dragon will go the way of Close Behind Esports, so they trade the support for the objective, and now they have the inside track on the mid lane as well as the Baron.
Yep, question is why was the Leona there? I mean, you had full vision of their bot lane, they were down there, and you have deep vision into the enemy jungler as well. So I don't see any reason for you to be hanging out around the Dragon Pit like that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a overstaying situation in the bot half. Meanwhile, Baron has been started up. There's no vision whatsoever, as our observer is kindly showing us. So this is an attempt to dissuade the Baron, but will be a bit too late. It's been taken out. Channeling the Scion ultimate though. Not necessarily the best idea. I think you don't take this fight after the objective has gone down. Meanwhile, using the Death Realm to take the 1v1 against the Jarvan in the backline. They're still protecting against the Sound. A great Buster shot to knock 4 members back in. This should be the disengage coming through. Cataclysm on top of the Mordekaiser. Not really who you want in the fight. Breaking out still in the river. Shutdown going in the way of the Rumble. But off the back, the resets coming through from the Tristana. She's left completely unchecked. She's going off and she's going to get all the kills that she needs, as well as the kitchen sink here. Autos to get the last kill, a triple, possibly a quadra. But no, everyone else just backing off.
For Winter in that fight, that was a great effort at, stalling it out until your AD carry got there. But unfortunately, the Tristana is just way too strong to be fighting right now. 4-1-7 with 2 completed items and a BF sword. That is, yeah, like you said, you shouldn't be taking that fight after the objective have gone down.
And you have to consider that this composition is not a single threat. It's 4 threats.
Yeah.
They isolated Comfy Roof, you kill the Mordekaiser, fine, get the shutdown. But then, where's the damage? Where's the CC on Tristana? What about the Olaf? What about the Irelia? All these factors come into play in the team fights because you don't have enough damage as well as tools to deal with the multiple threat composition.
Yeah, we praised, Winter for stalling it out until Lady Carry got there. But I think on the other side of the coin, close behind Esports played it excellently. Didn't commit until they saw a clear opening where they could, just slam all 4 members in. And just like that, they went in together. They got a clean team fight, victory, and they managed to take down 1 inhibitor in the mid lane.
Of course, credit where credit is due. You have to remember that they waited for the Cataclysm to come out first, then they re-engaged, right? Because the way they lost the previous fight was Cataclysm and Equalizer combo. This time they're like, okay, we're not gonna get fool us once. Shame on you. Fool us twice though. That's when the issue comes in. So adaptation coming through once more from Close Planet Esports, and the 5th dragon, or rather the 3rd dragon for them, will be quite crucial as they look to move towards the Mountain Soul. But I highly doubt the game is going to get to that point because goal lead speaks volumes, the Baron buff as well.
Yeah, this is the lull state where you are very happy to deal with if you are Winter right now. I mean, no objective we're taking on the map, but oh boy, we're doing this again.
See ya, buddy. Getting the reset, the great redemption to heal up the Tristana though, so they will find 2 kills in the middle of the jungle. Even the red buff take is not safe here as they look to walk into the bot side with the Baron buff, remember. So this should be at least the inner turret and possibly the inhibitor as well, unless Winter can mount a defense, which I highly doubt so with 2 members down and 20 seconds left to respawn.
Yeah, you didn't have priority over the red buff, you shouldn't be going for it. At this point, that play may have just lost the game for Winter. I mean, they're just going to push down right now. That's the point I was trying to bring across. The only way they win is they force it, and you know what? They're forcing it.
Last stand of the Alamo being pulled here. They're looking to defend their base, but with the wave coming in soon after, I don't think there's much that close behind, Winter can do to defend here. Tristana is a demolitionist expert, and right now she's going to be looking to demolish the chances of Winter making it into the winner's bracket. Death Realm being used by Comfy Roof on the backline, but all eyes on top of the Tristana, who is just auto-attacking for free right now. Just look at the back. Lezen just doing so much damage. Auto-attacking and getting the resets. Doesn't even need to use the rocket jump to get back into the fight because her team is peeling perfectly for her. Ace coming through. Nexus going down. It's another day in the office for Close Planet Esports.
Yep, ending the game with about a 14.6k advantage is Close Behind Esports. Extremely unfortunate for the side of Winter. And honestly, Close Behind was just the better team
That
today.
is, as a new team entering FSL Thai qualifiers, as rough of an introduction as you want in this tournament. It comes, full circle to show that these teams aren't playing around, man. They're really here to showcase their abilities, and Close Behind pulled no punches. They showed you what a tier 1 Thai representative of the FSL looks like.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Olaf didn't do that much damage. I mean, but, the rest of the team was able to just pick up the slack.
I mean, they can't see this on our screen, but right now the majority of the damage is actually coming through from the Irelia and Mordekaiser. Just residual AoE damage from the Vanguard's Edge as well as the Mordekaiser passive does a lot of work. So that's Close Behind in a nutshell for you, popping off in game 1. Right now though, because the games are being played concurrently, we're waiting for the winner of the other set to advance forward, and once we do see, or at least know, who's advancing to the winner's bracket round 2, we'll have the matchup up for you on the screen. But for now, we'll be going for a short break as we take stock of the situation. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.